Having undertaken a thorough analysis of the position of the North and the dangers of hoodwinking the communities onto a flight without actually knowing the destination, the summit hereby frowns at the mistake about to be committed by the present crop of northern political leaders in accepting a proposal that could mortgage the region's collective interest and its future. The summit states that the seeming endorsement by some northern leaders of a brand of restructuring that clearly places the region at a disadvantage is unacceptable and must be discountenanced.
The leadership in the North has shifted to a new generation like us that are less patient, that are in a hurry to see progress all over. We want to see peace and security, but we are also not afraid to discuss any issue. And therefore,
including issues of state creation, including issues of state police, including issues of fiscal federalism,
including
and all these issues mentioned, including by President Tinubu while he was in the opposition. So you're not afraid of all these issues?
No. If you talk about restructuring, depending on who you are talking with, you talk to people of someone from South, he wants own and manage his own resource. If you talk to the Southwest, they want to federalism, they want to own all the VAT that they collect. If you talk to the Southeast, they want another state created, even though actually they neither have the space or the population to have that. But if you talk to us now, what we want to do is to use what we have to get what we are looking for.
And what do you have that you're using to get what you're looking for?
We have over 70% of the land mass of Nigeria. We have over 60% of the population. So we are going to use our land mass and our population and our natural resources, especially soil and minerals, to get to sit and talk about restructuring. The North should no longer be viewed as running away from restructuring. We are ready and able and willing to commence discussions on these issues.
You're a lawyer, former chairman of the body of benchers. There are calls for a new constitution. Would you not be willing to sit with other parts of the country to firm up a new constitution that works for everyone if there's a sovereign national conference?
Welcome back to Local Journal, my people. These Fulani people don't come back with their wiseness again. This time they don't come out and they talk say then go team up with their brothers from the southeast and the south so that they go take remove Tinubu from power come 2027. Them also talk say make all the northern states and all the northern regions unite together as one. They call on the support of the north central people so that they go come together so that they go achieve anything where they want achieve for inside Nigeria. Because come 2027 say they no go agree and they go vote Tinubu out before 12 o'clock. Now the promise whether they promise Tinubu and southwest people be that. According to them, then talk say that they're ready for restructuring, and now the reason why they rally all the northern states so that they go come together because they get everything where they go they self-sufficient on their own and they get everything to become the best economy for inside Nigeria. And inside the same video, another Fulani man where they very honest in talk say the truth be say Nigeria don't they due for restructuring. Say waiting they go on it don't make sense at all. Say the resources and power it is skewed to one particular region of the country, and now the reason why some of these problems where they go on be this. But in talk say in no go go Kano State go they preach restructuring. Say if in talk that one for inside Kano State say that goes stoned to death. But according to Ram, the situation of Nigeria today it don't they due for restructuring. So then talk plenty things for inside the video, and I go play the video so that we go watch them together. But before I play the video, if today might be the first time they visit our channel, make you like, make you share, and make you subscribe.
From South Korea, or rather from Korea, breaking to South and North Korea, to the Western and Eastern Germany, to common here, Cameroon, that you have the English and the French part that are trying to go away. You know what is going on. So for anybody to be calling for war or you think you can just separate. It's not easy. I believe in Nigeria. I believe Nigeria will continue to exist. Whether we like it or not, there is a problem. We need to discuss the problem. We are disagreeing with ourselves, and we have every reason to disagree. The North before now is saying we don't believe in separation. But as I'm standing, I'm telling you that if there's going to be separation tomorrow, the North is ready for it. We are also ready. Let's go our either ways. And I'm telling you this with all sincerity. Northern Nigeria before now do not want to hear anything separation. But as of today, as I speak to you, the North is equally ready to leave. That is number one. Number two, talking about presidency. What I'm going to say might be controversial. You might disagree with it, but it's the absolute reality, and I speak in the mind of Northerners. And I have no apology to anybody in this hall on what I'm going to say, though I respect the leaders, elders, and fathers that are here. I duly respect them. But I have no apology to anybody on what I'm going to say. Let's please be serious. We are here for a serious business. Let us not make it a discussion floor if we truly want to do this. Now, talking about rotational presidency, what I thought we should be looking at is credibility, competency, patriotism, nationalistic thinking, the love for one another, and things like that. That is what I thought should constitute who becomes Nigeria's president. Not regional, tribal, ethnical, or any other thing. Please disagree with me, but I will speak. This is why we are here. This is why we are here. Good. Let us discuss the controversy and let us find a solution to the problem.
Please allow him. Somebody has his opinion. You have your opinion.
This is why we are here. If you disagree with me, come up and give your position. This is my position. This is the position of Northern Nigeria. So if you disagree, make your position known. Now, let us look at competency, credibility, patriotism, the love for the country to move Nigeria forward. Yes, we should create, there should be a room for discussion. Call it national conference, call it restructuring, call it whatever. I agree that we should come to a round table and discuss Nigeria and discuss the way forward for Nigeria. I agree that we are disagreeing. I agree that there's a problem. I agree that there is, if you like, call it lopsided appointment. I am not in government, so I don't speak for the government. I speak for not a particular tribe or region be seen as a threat to a country. If one region or tribe or religion is a threat to this country, then all of us are threatening Nigeria, and we are all threat to Nigeria. Then let us come and discuss the problem, find the solution to the problem, and let's move forward as Nigeria.
Well, yes, a lot of conversation about a return to regionalism, a practice from a couple decades, centuries ago. What is your take on, first of all, this discussion that's happening?
Well, basically, it's a discussion that we should have, we should welcome. It's a sign that we're trying to look for a solution to a myriad of problems, development problems, insecurity, economic problems. So it's a conversation that we expect to see our legislators have, and I think I commend such a conversation. However, let me begin by saying that regionalism, or regional system of government, is a system we have tested before, we have tried before, and is a system of government that has its merits and demerits, just like federalism has its merit and demerits. In fact, at times, the proponents of regional system of government talk about regional system of government as if it solved all our problems when it was in play in Nigeria, but that's not the case. In fact, why we left the regional system of government is because we were trying to experiment with another system that will solve the problems that bedeviled the regional system of government. Now, one of the problems that I can remember vividly that bedevil the regional system of government is the minority being marginalized, the minority not being carried along, the minority not participating in governance and in the government that is set up for them. So that is why we moved away from the regional system of government to a federal system of government where it engenders more participation from every nook and cranny. We have, like in my state, my local government, just 2 local government. We have a House of Rep member, 5 local government. We have a senator. So it engenders that participation. You go to the State House of Assembly, my local government just has 1 member and all of that. But in regionalism, this participation is not this widespread. It is not this, everybody doesn't participate. This large number don't participate in regionalism. So we should get that straight. We should not be running away from one system to the other instead of trying to better the system that we have at the moment. This is the problem, to digress, that we have with even subsidy. Subsidy is a good thing, but they say it's beatable with corruption. So instead of dealing with the corruption, we're running away from subsidy itself. So federalism, we have federalism. It's a good thing. It is working in several other places, but we have our own unique problems with our federalism. And instead of dealing with those problems, we want to run away again from federalism to regionalism with its own problems. Now, why not we sit down together and look at the federal system of government that we practice and try to tinker it, tailor it, to give us the dividends of democracy, to solve problems, economic problems, security problems, and all of that. We don't need, for instance, to go back to regionalism before we can talk about fiscal federalism, before we can talk about resource control. In the US, their brand of federalism has settled and dealt with the issue of resource control and dealt with the issue of fiscal responsibility and fiscal federalism. But we don't want to deal with it. So the elephant in the room, for instance, is fiscal federalism. The elephant in the room is resource control. Deal with it. We are talking about running back to regionalism. We tried for a few years, they will run back to federalism. So I don't think running back to regionalism is the solution. It's to sit down and talk about how to tweak, tinker, develop, position, equip our federalism to deliver the dividends of democracy. I think that's my take on that.
So if we talk about, tinkering with the current system, which is federalism, I'm wondering what sort of reforms you are proposing that will help us to actually achieve true federalism and make the system work for Nigeria. Now,
I already gave one example. Okay, I'll reiterate it and maybe make 1 or 2 other examples. Now, in 1979, when we adopted the presidential system of government and the federal system of government side by side, we had a model, and the model we copied from is the United States of America. Now, federalism is actually dictated by the unique story, unique experiences of a particular state or nation state. We shouldn't or can't exactly have the same kind of presidential system or federal system like the US. There are other countries that practice federal system of government that have tinkered it to suit them. So, for instance, I spoke about the elephant in the room. In the US, there is resource control and fiscal federalism, where the state control their resources and make remittance to the federal government. But in our state, it's not like that. In our nation state, it's not like that. Every resource, every mineral resource, everything belongs to the federal government. So states have stopped being creative. They're not thinking out of the box anymore. They are now coming cap in hand to the federal government for handouts. So you see people running for governor who don't even have an economic plan. They don't even know what to do to position their states. But would you even blame them? Because why should they be having an economic plan when they don't even control the resources in their states to start with? So everything they're thinking about is how to, first of all, position yourself, win the election, position yourself to get handouts from the federal government. So let's start from there to say, okay, states in our federalism should control resources and make remittance to the federal government. What is stopping us from having state police? What is stopping us from having a unique system of jurisprudence where the states will even have state court of appeal and even state supreme court, where certain issues like customary issues, Sharia issues, will terminate at maybe I start a matter at the area court in Kano. There should be maybe Sharia court of appeal. Maybe they should have Kano State Supreme Court where such matters terminate. But do you know that matters that start from area court Kano gets to the Sharia court, court of appeal, then get to the court of appeal and come to Supreme Court in Abuja? Because we don't have judicial federalism where states can have this system put in place to take care of their needs, economic needs, security needs, and financial needs. So these are the issues. I believe that if we are serious as a people, our legislators, the stakeholders to sit down together and tinker these aspects to suit our unique purpose and position our nation for productivity and success, not to run back to regionalism. So what exactly is regionalism going to give us that we can't tinker our federalism to give us? Can't we even cut down on, for instance, how expensive, or let me use the word luxurious, capital-intensive governance is? We can cut down on it. We don't have to run down or run back to regionalism. So this is what I mean when I say we can tinker our federalism, position it to serve us better than it's presently doing.
Well said. And what would be the process of re-establishing regionalism, legally speaking, since that is your area of expertise? Well,
you know, the thing is that we can quarrel with the 1999 Constitution all we want, but it's the grand norm now. Is the foundation. We exist. That is like our existence, a nation state or as a country, is hinged on that constitution, imperfect as it is. You know, so whether we are tinkering with our federal system, as I've suggested, or going back to regionalism, as some persons have proposed, it still boils down to a constitutional amendment. You have to amend the constitution, whether in piecemeal, holistically, but the process cannot exist outside the constitutional machinery of making law and amending laws. So it's not something that somebody is going to stitch together and just deliver to us. So our representatives in the National Assembly, in the State House of Assembly, the constitution itself spells out how it should be amended. It spells out how the system of government will operate now. It's clearly spelled in the Constitution. So if you want to change the system of government, you want to change the structure of the country, you still have to go back, follow the laid down procedure of amending the Constitution, amend the relevant sections, and bring in either regionalism or any system of government that we agree on.
The need to revisit the Nigerian state, its foundations, its philosophy, its operations, its systems. It's not an agenda of anybody, any part of Nigeria. It's a Nigerian agenda. There's no Nigerian who knows how badly the country is being run that will oppose a holistic revision of the Nigerian state, foundations, philosophies, and operations. Whatever name you give it. And we don't need to fight over the name, so long as we do what the right thing is. And what the right thing is that we need to put Nigeria on the table and re-examine those things that represent limitations and address them as Nigerians, not as Northerners and Southerners, not as ethnic groups, not as Muslims or Christians, but as Nigerians, because everything that happens in this country affects everybody. Every advantage one part of the country gets creates a disadvantage somewhere else. So we're all victims of a country. And the point is that this is our country, it's nobody else's country. It's not the country of our ruling clique. It's not the country of those who are today in power. It's our country, it's the country of our children. And it's a country we want to improve and leave behind so that it can work better. This is the fundamental philosophy behind our support for a holistic revision. Where we have problems being understood is where we draw attention to some of the limitations behind this national need to address our country. And we've made the position clear. Whether we like it or not, we have almost reached an end of a country that needs salvation, seriously. First, we need to recognize the fact that you cannot reform, revisit, restructure Nigeria unless you have the consent and the participation and the inclusion of every part of this country. And you cannot do that if you keep presenting it as if it is only one part of the country that wants it and another country is resisting it. Because when you do that, that part of the country that you identify as a villain just digs in. Every part of Nigeria has issues with what Nigeria is today. They may not all have the same issues, but we do have issues. So what is happening in this room today is historic. It should go down on record as one of the genuine efforts by citizens and leaders to say, how do we move from blaming each other, fighting with each other, and quarreling over names and methods? How do we move into getting Nigeria revisited in a meaningful way? There are a number of things we have to recognize. Under the current circumstances, we have ideas, we have suggestions, we have a lot of work. But how do we get it into the mainstream? The National Assembly has just revisited or looked at a few sections of the Constitution. The way we are going, none of those things will see the light of day. We will continue with this Constitution that we've all said is fundamentally defective because those in power are not interested in changing it. They are not interested in changing it because it serves their interests. It doesn't serve the interests of the people who elected them. It doesn't serve the interests of those who really feel the pain of what Nigeria is today. They won't change Nigeria because it benefits them. And yet every one of them, from the president to the National Assembly, to the governors, to the state assembly people, everybody who has responsibility under this Constitution to change the Constitution was elected by the Nigerian people. So how do you deal with this seeming betrayal of the genuine of Nigerians? First, we have to see them out. They will not change Nigeria if they remain in power. If they reproduce themselves in 2023, they will also reproduce the problems that we have. So there's a fundamental political challenge facing all Nigerians, and we need to recognize it. Nobody who aspires to any public office, particularly in a position where he or she can affect the future, should get our votes unless he or she commits to a holistic review of our Constitution, our structures, and our systems. Nobody. So I think there are aspirants who are listening. I've just given you an idea. The North will not support any candidate who does not publicly and seriously commit to the revision of the structure, systems, and the processes of administration. Without reservations. That's the first one. The second one, we need to work to get the country to survive, even between now and when we get rid of the people today who show serious resistance to any substantial change. Because we shouldn't take the survival of this country for granted. We are being run, this country is being run by people who are so reckless about the way they are running it that we are not even sure that we will actually we will survive as a country. Some of the things we say ourselves, and we say to each other, are not productive, are not useful, and sometimes are downright dangerous, the survival of this country. Even in the next 1 year, we should stop. We should stop. We need to get this country safely through the elections of 2023. We need to get good leaders who recognize the fact that 2023 will be a historic turning point. Either we turn around and begin the process of reconstructing this country on principles that address our needs as Nigerians, or we sink deeper. When we do sink deeper, everybody will be a victim. There are people who think deeply that there are parts of Nigeria that can just walk away because they don't get what they want. You're making a mistake. No part of this country can just walk away if it doesn't get what it wants. None. Because our roots are too deep, our bonds are too tight, our interests are too identical. When we make the case for a united Nigeria, it is because we recognize the fact that, effective or not, our history, molded by the mistakes we made, molded by the achievements we made, the contribution of the military, the creations of the military, things we don't like about what the military have done, whether we like it or not, they are part of us. We live with them, we live with them. If we have to change what the military did, we have to do it, but we have to do it together. We cannot just walk away because we don't like the bit of what is there. We can work together to salvage this country and change the way it is structured. And we must do that. Otherwise, we will submit to bandits and kidnappers and IPOBs and irregularities and everybody. And nobody will benefit from this. Finally, I think we need to commit to supporting only candidates wherever they come from, who not only commit to convening some serious national constitutional forum, but actually commit to implementing what we recommend. No one should even venture to offer to lead us unless they tell us clearly, and we see it in writing, that one of their first priorities is to allow an unhindered discussion and production of ideas about how this country should be restructured. Another Elders Forum supports this initiative. We hope that at the end of the day today, we will commit to supporting the survival of this country, irrespective of the assaults that are being made by insecurity, by our leadership. We need to survive as a country. We need to produce the kind of leader who we can all look up to and say, that's our leader. We need to produce the kind of leader who will commit to our future, the future of our children. And we can do that as Nigerians. We don't need to do it as ethnic groups. We don't need to do it as people from one parts of the region. We can do it because the truth about it is problems in the southeast are the problems of Zamfara. And Boko Haram is not a northern problem, it's a Nigerian problem. And whatever it is that is fueling IPOB, it's not a legal issue, it's a Nigerian problem. It needs to be looked into, it needs to be resolved. And we need to send messages to our people who are losing hope that you can actually reconstruct this country. Nigeria has a future. But if some of the people in this room and those outside don't really get out and get involved in the political process, then there's no hope. We will be left with the people that His Eminence, the kind president, is talking about, who casually dish out 100 million naira because they just want to be listed as people who are. One of them could actually end up being our president. They would have bought this country and they would buy it simply to continue to make it. The more the ruling class exploits us, the more they set us up to fight against each other. We have no reason to fight against anybody. Finally, the North does not want to fight anybody, does not want anybody to fight anybody. It wants an equal role to play in the manner in which Nigeria runs. We don't have enemies. We don't need enemies. We will accept leadership if it emerges legitimately, constitutionally, and particularly if it is the kind of leadership we'll look at and say we can see some hope in the leadership of that person. That's the kind of Nigeria we're looking for. And we're looking for partners. We hope the rest of the country will work with us. We hope the rest of the country will recognize the fact that there are no victims and there are no villains in this endeavor. And if we can tone down the rhetorics and help the political and democratic process to survive this very difficult period, Nigeria has a future. If we fail to do this, the reckless ruling class today, if you can see, 30-something people spending billions and billions of naira of our money just to buy forms to compete. These people will run this country aground. May that never happen in the name of God. Thank you.